So hello everyone, our today's topic is the jaundice. So let us discuss about the physiology part. First of all, you should know what is bile. Bile, it is a green yellow fluid that is produced by the liver. And what is the function of bile? It helps in the digestion and absorption of fat in the small intestine. So the liver, it will produce around 600 to 800 ml of the bile per day. So this bile, it is stored in the liver. So this bile, remember, it is stored in the gallbladder until it is needed for digestion. So what is bile? Bile, it is composed of, what is bile composed of? The bile, it is composed of mixture of water, bile acids, cholesterol, phospholipids, electrolytes and other molecules. So bile acid, which are synthesized from the cholesterol in liver, they are the major component of bile. So they help in a role in digestion and absorption of fat. So how the bile helps in the absorption? So when the food containing fat, it will enter the small intestine, it will release a hormone known as CCK, that is cholecystokinin. So this hormone will stimulate the gallbladder to contract. So which hormone causes the gallbladder to contract? It is CCK, and it will release the bile. So the bile will be released into where? Small intestine. So the bile will emulsify the fat into small droplets. So which make it easier for enzyme known as lipase to break down the fat into the smaller molecules. So that can be absorbed through the intestine wall and into the bloodstream. So bile also helps to eliminate waste products from the body, including bilirubin. So what is bilirubin? It is a breakdown product of hemoglobin. So remember, this bilirubin, it is a component of bile. So it is produced in liver as a waste product of breakdown of hemoglobin from old RBC cells. So what is this bilirubin? Bilirubin, it is a yellow-orange pigment that is produced when red blood cells break down. So it is transported to liver, where it is processed and excreted into the bile. The bilirubin is responsible for yellow color of the urine. So when the levels are too high, it will cause jaundice, that is the yellowing of the skin and thus eyes. So in the liver, the bilirubin, it is converted into form that is soluble in water, and it can be eliminated from body through the bile. So remember, the bilirubin in the bile, it is responsible for the greenish color of the feces. So a bile, it is a fluid produced by liver that helps in digestion, whereas bilirubin, it is a waste product of RBC breakdown that is excreted into bile, and ultimately this bilirubin is eliminated from the body. Now, what are the steps in the production of the bilirubin? What are the steps in the bilirubin metabolism? First of all, the red blood cells, they contain hemoglobin that break down into heme and globin. So this heme, it is converted into biliverdin by which enzyme? Heme oxygenase. So biliverdin, it is then converted into bilirubin by enzyme biliverdin reductase. That is conversion. The third is the transport. So this bilirubin is transported into blood bound to protein known as albumin. So fourth is the uptake by the liver. The bilirubin, it enters the liver cell where it is bound to protein known as ligandin. So bilirubin, it is then converted into water soluble form that is known as the conjugated bilirubin by adding a sugar molecule to it. So this process, it is catalyzed by enzyme UDP gluconosyl transferase. So remember, in the blood, the bilirubin, it exists in two forms. One is the conjugated and other is unconjugated. So the unconjugated bilirubin is the indirect bilirubin. It is not water soluble and it cannot be excreted in urine or bile. So it is bound to albumin in the blood, and it is carried to liver where it is taken up by cells. So in liver, this unconjugated bilirubin, it is converted into the conjugated bilirubin, also known as direct bilirubin. The conjugated bilirubin, it is water soluble and it can be excreted in urine and the bile. So it is formed by adding a sugar molecule to the unconjugated bilirubin that makes it water soluble. So this conjugated bilirubin is then secreted into bile, which is then released into intestine. So sixth process is the secretion, where the conjugated bilirubin is excreted into bile and it is released into intestine. The seventh process is excretion. The conjugated bilirubin is further broken down by bacteria into urobilinogen. Some urobilinogen is reabsorbed in the bloodstream and excreted in the urine, while the rest is excreted in feces as stercobilin. So this process is known as enterohepatic circulation of bilirubin. So any disruption in this process, it can lead to accumulation of bilirubin in the blood. So that will result in jaundice.